Welcome back to the WSAV Sports Now podcast. I am sports reporter and anchor Connor Del Preet, joined now by one other person at the desk, Ben Katko, our buddy Greg. He is on vacation right now, enjoying the West Coast, so we wish him well. So what it means is there's going to be a lot less philosophy being thrown around here on this. I said it.
I'm just saying we're missing 1/3 of the equation.
Yeah, a little less minor league baseball talk maybe, but no, we miss him. He'll be back next week. So
we're
we'll
just
get back
pretending
on
like we're baseball players.
Exactly, that's what we're doing. We've decided,
idea.
It was my idea. Well, all of our ideas, I feel like. We've decided that we're going to wear jerseys from now on because this is conversation. It's not talking at you, so we figured we'd just
guys
relax.
talking about some stuff.
Exactly, guys talking about stuff, trying to sound smart. And so we're going to wear baseball, football, basketball, whatever it may be, whatever's in our closet. I've noticed, though, that I don't have a ton of local jerseys right now. It's all Baltimore stuff and then a random, like, Donovan McNabb.
All of mine is Pittsburgh stuff. But I used to have some pretty cool random jerseys when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I had a Shaquille O'Neal Magic jersey when I was a kid. I was in, like, 2nd grade.
Like the black one with the white pinstripes?
That's the exact one with the blue letters. And I had a Keith Van Horn Nets jersey. I think what were they? They were the New Jersey Nets? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a New Jersey Nets jersey. It was a Keith Van Horn jersey. How about that?
Like the Kerry Kittles era.
I told you, like from way out there.
You never thought you'd hear Keith Van Horn on a Monday morning here in Savannah, but hey,
probably not.
That's what we're bringing to the table.
That's
so
what
I want to
we're here
ask.
for.
I feel like we're on the New York runway here. Who are you wearing? Because they can't.
Andrew
see the back of
McCutchen.
your shirt. Andrew McCutchen.
I'm wearing an Andrew McCutchen Pirates jersey, who no longer plays for the Pirates, because that's what happens to everybody that ever goes through there. They don't always play for the Pirates forever. But I had a long-standing philosophy, a long-standing personal policy, whatever you want to call it, when it came to Pittsburgh Pirates jerseys. Growing up there, you're not very optimistic every year as a Pirates fan. You're just not. It's especially since like the early 90s. 92, great season. We lost the NLCS. Everything went downhill from there until 2013. And I finally pulled the trigger on a McCutchen jersey. I was like, I think I'm pretty safe here, you know? Like, they totally built this thing around him, and then they sent him off. So my policy was to never buy a Pirates jersey with a name on the back unless that person was retired.
Yeah.
So I had a Willie Stargell jersey, and that was it. And I had a Willie Stargell jersey and some blank ones. Because as Pirates fans, you knew you just bought a blank jersey because that guy, whoever's name was on the back, guaranteed was not going to be there.
3 years.
I broke my own policy, and look what happened.
I think that's the case, though, with teams like the Pirates and the Orioles, where you just don't have enough money to compete with the huge teams that'll scoop them up. And so,
and then you got that nice, big, rich piece of trade bait there, and you know you can get a return. What are you wearing?
I'm wearing J.J. Hardy.
Yeah, okay.
Throwback. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same case with you. I looked in my closet, and none of the guys that I have are currently on their team. So I have Machado, I have J.J. Hardy.
Yep.
I think I had the names escape me now, the starting pitcher, Chris Tillman. And then when I look at my Ravens jerseys, it's Joe Flacco. So I don't have a single, well, he's elite.
See, we didn't have that problem as Steelers fans. We don't have that problem. You buy a jersey, you get that guy for pretty much his whole
I thought Flacco would be there forever, but Lamar Jackson's the truth. So what I did is I took duct tape and I taped the 5 into an 8 and then duct taped Jackson over Flacco.
You think maybe we could just get you a new one?
Yeah, I'll have to cut back on the meals out or something to afford those jerseys.
Maybe just put a few pennies aside here and there, get yourself a new one.
Yeah, well, or
ask Santa for Christmas.
We accept gifts here on the WSAV Sports Town
Ask
podcast.
Santa for Christmas; he'll bring you something.
Just a couple months away, right? All right, so we're on football now. So let's continue with football. Big day. We talked SEC Media Day last week, and that was all about UGA, all about LSU talking about Georgia Southern, and now we can talk about Georgia Southern a little bit more because it is Sun Belt Media Day. We're taping this Monday morning, so it's kind of like a live reaction because Chad Lunsford, Kendall Vildor, and Tyler Bass, who are all the representatives for Georgia Southern, just spoke at Media Day, and so I've been kind of trying to refresh my computer on my terrible internet at home and watch this stream, and I got enough where I think we can talk a good bit about it. So the new commissioner started off with a State of the Sun Belt. Breaking news, it's great, he says. It's going to be wonderful. They're all great. The competition's going to be good. The non-conference schedule is going to be great.
It's going to be great.
So we got that out of the way. Now we can go to the stuff that people actually care about. Chad Lunsford, Kendall Vildor, and Tyler Bass all addressing the media. We're going to start with Lunsford because he's the brain behind all of this. He's the guy. He's Georgia Southern's savior. If you look at Georgia Southern Twitter, he's the guy. He gets it. And I looked forward to his press conference more than I did a little bit maybe Kirby Smart because we address this. Kirby Smart is staying on brand. He's not going to say anything too controversial. Chad Lunsford didn't say anything crazy, controversial, or anything.
But he says things.
But he says things. He sounds like he believes them all too, which is also a good thing you want.
I think you need to buy into your, to what you're selling.
You said that perfectly because he has bought into the program, and it's clear that the players have bought into him now. When we came into this Sunbelt Media Day last year, he had just gotten the job from last year after coaching the final couple of games.
He hadn't even had a full season yet.
No, so there's always a little uncertainty with. Yes, he did great the past couple of games to end the season as interim head coach, but a full season's way different. You got to add recruiting into it now. You got to add, some scheduling and things like that. Just you have way more duties as the full-time coach than the last 4 games of your interim season. So coming into it, you wouldn't be surprised if the guys were a little not hesitant, but just it's a little bit of an unknown. You don't know how the team's going to react to a 10-loss season. This year, though, after coming off this 10-win season, the confidence is through the roof, and it's not cockiness. It's confidence where they're talking about that Camellia Bowl win when Tyler Bass hit the field goal win. They're saying we worked so hard to get to that point. They're saying all this. We worked so hard to get to that point. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. Imagine what else it's going to take to get to a Sun Belt championship, because that's something that stuck with them is they didn't win the Sun Belt championship, didn't even make it to the title game. So they're saying we have set the standard, but you got to take it a step further to get to where they want to go, which, that every team's going to say that when they're in this position. But it seems like they truly believe it. Kendall Vildor and Tyler Bass both spoke about that field goal to win the game and how much it still sticks with them, but also how it drives them to make sure that it's not the Camellia Bowl they're going to be at next year. It's going to be the bowl that the Sun Belt champion representatives are from. So Chad Lunsford, sort of resonating those similar things, saying, going from good to great, which is his phrase this year. They all have phrases each year. Chad's a big phrase guy.
Every coach.
Yeah, so it's good to great, and the way they're going to do that, it's going to be tough. I want to get your sort of impressions just based off what I've been telling you about what's happened at Media Day. It seems like things are going on the right track for Georgia Southern heading into the season.
I mean, I agree. I think things are on the right track. The thing about Media Day, though, and this is nothing with Georgia Southern, this is nothing with anybody in particular, but the way that Media Days go is everything is all unicorns and roses and things are going to be fabulous. That's what it's designed to be. That's why you get the commissioner of every conference up there to tell you just how awesome this is, and this is going to be the best year this conference has ever had. Which sure, that may be true. I mean, who knows? But you get that from every major football conference in America at Media Day. But what I like about Chad Lunsford at this is he's not using it necessarily like Kirby Smart, like we talked about, where it was very, I'm on brand, I'm here, not a lot of substance to what I'm saying. Chad Lunsford never really strikes me as that kind of guy. He strikes me as the kind of guy that he's just going to tell you how it is and what the plan is, and this is what this team is going to do going forward, and we plan on being great this year. Yeah. It seems to be, not that Kirby's not authentic, but Chad Lunsford's a very authentic guy. Like, what you see is what you get, and this is what we're going to do, and this is our plan, and this is how we're going to go and get it. I mean, he knows that they're in the first 3 weeks of the season, it is not easy.
No.
I would argue they've got some of the toughest in their first 3 weeks. Georgia Southern might have one of the toughest schedules in the country. They're going to LSU. Yeah. Then, they've got whatever they've got at home.
They'll host Maine, which they should win, but
they're going to the Big Ten, and they're going to go play Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, these are not cake games, and SEC stadiums and Big Ten stadiums are among the biggest buildings on the planet for sporting events. They are.
It's just different than Paulson Stadium, regardless of how rowdy it can get.
It's different, and I know when you go on the road, when you are well prepared, it shouldn't matter where you play and in front of how many people you play. But it's still, it's something to think about, something you got to plan for. I mean, you got to plan for 80,000, 100,000 people at some of these places. But Chad Lunsford strikes me as the type of guy that I think he'll have these players as prepared as he possibly can. I mean, he took a team that was so beat down. It takes over in the middle of the season.
Kind of a laughingstock.
Does whatever he can to get these kids to buy in as much as they can for a guy that they don't even know is going to be around the next season. He gets them to trust him and his process and his way. They give him the job. Okay, he goes and he has to do everything he's got to do. The recruiting you talked about, all that stuff. He has to be the coach now. He really, he's got to live up to that paycheck that they're giving him. And he goes out and he breaks off 10 wins when not a whole lot has changed as far as personnel goes.
No.
Sure, he gets his guys, his coaches and his system in there, but he's got the same guys.
Yeah.
if by and large the same players are out there and they bought into whatever he had to say and trusted him, that's the kind of guy I think he is. I think he's the kind of guy that players do trust what he has to say, and they believe what he has to say, and I think everybody else who listened to him at Media Day should believe too.
And that's something that I've been talking to Chad over, the year that I've been here. It's not just Media Day where he's just answering those questions straight up. In his daily or weekly press conferences, you ask the question, and he's going to answer that question. He's not going to sidestep around.
He's going to give it to you.
And even during Media Day, when you said it, it's always, it seems like everything's always perfect.
It's the greatest thing that ever happened.
He did talk about, I wouldn't say a negative, but a hill that they're going to have to climb. He addressed their non-conference schedule and their away schedule. So you mentioned LSU and Minnesota. Those two right there, a lot of people on the outside are saying, that's 2 losses right away. I bet you they could surprise Minnesota. I don't know.
At the end of the third week of the season, everybody's saying that they're going to be 1-2. I think that's the easy pick is they're going to be 1-2. Yeah. They're going to lose to LSU and they're going to lose to Minnesota because they should. Right. They don't really have to.
No.
Well, these small schools beat these big ones all the time.
Right, they do. I think obviously Minnesota will be the easier task than LSU because LSU has had so long to prepare for this Georgia Southern offense, which Minnesota won't. They'll be coming off, another game week.
LSU's too worried about that brand new locker room.
Did you see that? Jay Billis's tweet saying, "If only there were enough."
I'm not here to. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying they got a pretty new locker room.
They do have a new locker room, but also, I'm looking at their away schedule in general is something that's difficult because their last 4 games, I believe the last 5 games, 3 of them are away games, and it's against App, Troy, and Arkansas State. Those are 3 of the best teams, arguably, in the Sun Belt. You lump Georgia Southern there in the top 5 with them, and then maybe Louisiana or ULM. So their toughest conference games, or some of their toughest conference games, are on the road. So the ESPN broadcaster today asked him about that and said, "Did you just anger someone in the Sun Belt to have your last 3 games be away against really good teams?" Right. He said, he's got nothing but love for the Sun Belt, of course, Chad does. But he said that this is going to be a really interesting task for them because you look at what they did last year. Yes, 10 wins was great. They beat number 25 Appalachian State. Yep. Then they had the target on their back because of that. What did they do? They lost 2 in a row.
It happens.
So they lost to ULM, which they shouldn't have lost. And they lost to Troy at home, and Troy was a very good team at that point, and it was a close game. But he said they didn't play well with the target on their backs. They have the target on their backs this year from the jump. They don't have to. They can't surprise people this year unless they beat LSU.
Everybody knows that they are an authentic football team. That 10 wins in a season is not an accident.
And
you
no
can't
one really
accidentally win 10 games.
Right.
You can't do it.
And a lot of their core is still here.
It's still there.
They're reloading. So that'll be an interesting task for them. And he did address that, saying, we have to be able to play no matter where you are, no matter who you're going against. Sure. Because I can tell that in what he said last year in press conferences and what he said this year, that ULM and Troy loss still sticks with him because they were on such a high after beating Appalachian State at home, and then to come back with 2 losses in a row. I remember people saying, well, geez, now they have to win every game now to get to 10 wins. And that was something that they said in the beginning of the year after winning 5 or 6 games, like, 10 wins, here we go, we're on our way. And then it created a little bit of doubt, those 2. So I think LSU and Minnesota is going to be what it is. It's big environments. App, Troy, and Arkansas State may be the 3 games I'm looking forward to most to see how they perform on the road.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so we'll get a little bit into what some of the players are saying from Media Day, and then we'll get into some more local stuff. But I want to touch on what Tyler Bass said. He's a kicker, and he's at Media Day, which is, awesome.
Hey, the dude had the kick of the year last year.
And kickers' lives matter too, man. I've been saying that.
And kickers and punters are people too.
His last kick of the year was the biggest kick in, one of the biggest kicks in Georgia Southern history, I think. So he was there in Media Day. It's clear that he's loving it, representing all the kickers of the world who don't get invited to Media Day.
I got a drop from my boy Pat McAfee. It's a for the brand moment.
It's a for the brand
moment.
And Tyler and Pat, I think they may have exchanged some Twitter mentions before. If not, I think Pat should get on the Tyler Bass train soon.
Using the old boomstick there.
You come with the references. Okay, so Tyler Bass, he keeps in contact with Younghoe Koo, who was on the Chargers for a while.
Yeah.
He's a Georgia Southern guy. Then he went to the Alliance Football League, and now I believe he's back in Chargers camp trying out
he's
again.
with somebody. I forget who, though.
So Tyler says that he keeps in contact with him, every week, checking in on him at Media Day. He said that. He also said that like I mentioned before, that kick still sticks with him, and he like it's everyone on the team that has bought into what Lunsford has done, because Lunsford was a special teams coach, so him and Bass had a close relationship beforehand. And it's clear Tyler Bass has gotten into this good, not great, it's not sexy, it's blue collar mentality. And so it was great to hear from him, and great to hear a kicker there. Kindle Vildor, who is Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year preseason honors. He's a guy that NFL teams are already looking at and have been for a couple of years. He's a guy where I find sometimes, and I was thinking about this today, in college football, unless you are a Nick or Joey Bosa, one of those guys, it's really hard to get that national media just standout attention, whether it's in broadcasts or
like it's already built in for some of these guys.
Right. It's hard to get that attention, even in the middle of broadcasts, where so many times when the defense is on the field, the broadcasters are focused on how the offense is doing, because it's just we're trending more towards offense and offense-driven.
Well, that's that's what people want to see.
It's what they want to see. But Kindle Vildor has, since the beginning of last year, really shown up on Pro Football Focus lists. He's shown up on preseason and postseason honors lists. And so it was interesting to hear from him today and see how he's handled some of that, I guess, added pressure of saying, like, you are the guy in the Sun Belt now. You are the defensive guy. And he stays true to his word of it doesn't change him. If anything, it just fuels him a little bit more, because they have a lot to prove. Last year they came into it, and the expectations, they could be another 2-win team, or they could be another 10-win team. You don't really know, because with the new coach, a little bit of new defensive scheme and an offensive scheme as well. Not a new offensive scheme, but new coordinator and stuff like that. Now they have expectations. Now they have something to live up to. So we're going to dive more into the Sun Belt Media Day over the next couple of days, and really, it just gives us a great reason to talk about football, Georgia Southern football.
We'll take anyone
without
we
having
can
to
get.
Pull anything like
I'll
that.
take anyone I can get.
Exactly. And one last thing I want to touch on, the offense. And this is a podcast where we can dive a little bit more into the strategy of Georgia Southern football, because they're giving us a lot to kind of dissect during media day. Usually every week we're trying to keep it light and just have a conversation. But I do want to touch on one thing with Georgia Southern's offense. Chad Lunsford said this today. Shai Wertz coming into another year at quarterback, 1 year older, 1 year wiser. Last year it was, he said in his words, it was fundamentals. It was just getting a little bit more comfortable with a new offensive coordinator. This year he's looking not for fundamentals, but mastery of the offense and a real handle.
Easy. Which just be easy for him.
Yeah,
it should be.
It should be, because he was untouchable last year in what he was able to do, and it's going to be hard to replicate perfection essentially. But I just think 1 year more with Bob DeBess is going to do wonders for him. He lost Wesley Fields, which was a nice safety valve for him, who's now got the NFL invite, but Lunsford said they got a lot of horses in the stable when it comes to running back. You can lose Wesley Fields and still be fine. They had a lot of guys, Matt Speedy LaRoche, Logan Wright, Wesley Kennedy is going to get some snaps at running back. They'll all be fine, but their performance doesn't matter if Shai Wertz doesn't perform to standard, because in this offense, he is the decision maker. He is the one who's making all the reads, pre-snap, post-snap, in between the tackle reads. So I think he's got great running backs to help him with that. It's just all going to be on his shoulders, and I think he's carried that weight last year when he was messing with perfection and not having a turnover or not having an interception. And I think he may have a chip on his shoulders for missing out on some preseason awards this year as well.
And you know what though, I kind of always have had a beef with preseason awards. Because what do preseason awards mean?
They fire up whoever doesn't get the award.
Right.
What it does.
I mean, give me the postseason awards, because you've got 12 games and if you're lucky, a bowl game under your belt, and you can actually pick somebody who is worthy of that award. You give me these preseason ones, and I could do without them. I mean, I get why people like them, and I get why they do them. Personally, I could do without them. I don't care one way or another, especially when you get into the individual side of things, and not so much like, okay, well, we think Georgia Southern's going to win the Sun Belt, they'll be first, Troy's second, and whatever. And they start picking wins and ranking where they think people are going to finish, and teams are going to finish. That's fine, okay, that's the whole team. But to start giving out preseason awards to the players, is it really a preseason award as much as it is you looking back at the season that was and deciding this guy should get an award now? I mean, it just seems like it carries so much more weight when you do it at the end of the season than really I wouldn't put much weight into it at the beginning of the season.
I think the thing that preseason awards are used most for is comparing. Like, if anything, it's comparing to who actually wins it at the end of the year. You know, Georgia Southern has a couple guys on.
Yeah, right.
First
like if
team
I'm
and
the guy,
second team, but I think if anything, they're going to have more people on the end of the year, first team, second team, honorable mention. So it's going to be a sticking point for Georgia Southern fans to say, hey, look, y'all didn't pick us to finish, this high up in the Sun Belt, or y'all didn't pick our guys to be on first team, second team. Look where they are now. So if anything, it's a look how wrong y'all were.
Right. Like I would rather be the guy that gets picked preseason, or the guy that doesn't get picked preseason, that gets picked postseason, than be the guy who gets picked preseason and does not get picked postseason. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. To me, that would seem kind of like at the end of the season, if I don't live up to the award that I was just named before the season, that's rough, man.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, and before we, speaking of that, some guys that could be on the awards at the end of the year, and then we'll move on to our next topic. I'd look out for a guy like Logan Wright. He's coming in, got some snaps last year at running back, and so he performed really well against New Mexico State last year when Wesley Fields was out, didn't get a snap. Logan Wright stepped up, 17 carries, 136 yards, 2 TDs. He broke off a touchdown run against Coastal Carolina that I was at up in Conway, and he's a bigger guy. He outran everyone on that Coastal Carolina defense. After the game, you could just see he kind of had that smile on his face, like, Georgia Southern's got a lot of great running backs. Mm-hmm. I'm that next guy.
Yeah, right. It's mine.
It's mine now. I'm going to be the guy, or one of the 3 guys that they have, that they'll roll out here. And he's got that smile saying, like, I got some speed on me. I might be a big guy, but I got some speed on me. He runs angry. And so I think he's a guy that
he expects to be at the top of the depth chart.
Yeah, he'll step up this year, and he could be on some of those end-of-season awards that we love so much. But moving on to something even closer to home than Sunbelt Media Day in New Orleans. We're talking a former Jenkins star, a guy who popped off the page as quarterback, earned a scholarship at the Citadel, Javante Middleton. Mm-hmm. He's a fantastic football player. He won the Michael Finocchio Award for Best Football Player in 2017, the year that he graduated, or 2018. I'm getting it all mixed up. He played a lot before I actually got here, so it's kind of looking back on previous stuff.
Gotcha.
So he was there at Jenkins. He was part of one of the best teams in school history. Mm-hmm. Now he's doing his thing at Citadel, trying to get some playing time, but he is back in Savannah this summer, training a little bit, I'm sure, but also giving back to the community. He had a fantastic event going on this weekend. I was lucky enough to catch up with him, a very busy guy for a 19-year-old. I was lucky to catch up with him for 5 or 10 minutes to talk about the event that he's putting on and why it means so much to him. Take a look. All right, joined now by Javante Middleton, the pride of Savannah. Man, you're at the Citadel right now playing football, playing quarterback, but you're back here for the summer because there's an event that's very close to your heart, something you've been involved in 2 years now. Explain a little bit about why you're out here today and what's going on.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, Get Going is a college pack the trunk event, and last year showed as my going away party. And even then, as my going away party, I gave back all the donations to the community because I was blessed enough to receive a scholarship from the Citadel to go up there and play football. But when I was all in the midst of it, I figured why not continue the same thing, but have it for everyone in the entire community. And this year we geared it towards 2019 graduates of public schools, and we gave back to them. And everything that they will be giving away to 2019 graduates. We've already awarded a scholarship to Isabel Smith, the Jenkins High School graduate that will be attending the University of Georgia, a $1,000 scholarship, the Get Going College Fund, a Granger Honda scholarship. She wrote the essay, she filled out the application, it's going back to her. We have a starter kit and a care package that will be going out to applicants. And we have live entertainment, free food, free drinks, a basketball tournament going on behind us. It's just a community block party, We wanted everyone to come out, be a part, and just have fun and take something from it that they didn't have before they came.
Scholarships, school supplies, that's all stuff that, you knew about as you were applying to schools.
That's right.
Little things like school supplies can mean so much to these college kids going off. Can you kind of put it into perspective? You were just in that position just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
What that means to a student like yourself coming up and getting that sort of, that free boost.
Yeah, you definitely need it. You're going to go off, you're not going to be with mom and dad, you're not going to be with aunties and uncles, you're going to be off by yourself. You're going to have to wake up on your own, go to these classes, do things like that. And while you're doing that, doing the school part, you have to live real life too. Mama's not there to wash your clothes, so you need washing detergent. Mama's not there to clean your dishes, so you need dish detergent. You need the small things like that, because when you're off on the road and you're off away, even if you stay here in Savannah and you go to Savannah State, you're still going to need these things, snacks, linen, shower curtains. We have everything that we're giving out today just to prepare the future principal leaders of America.
You said that last year during your going away party, you still gave those supplies back to people.
I did.
have you always sort of been that in that sort of giving spirit growing up, just being raised by, people that have told you that's an important, morals to have and things of that nature?
Oh, definitely. My mom always made my sister and I go out to the charity events, and I always got a natural high from it. And I always just wanted to say, hey, I could do that one day. And I never thought I'd be able to do it when there's still a teen behind my age. But, I did it when I was 18. I'm doing it now at 19 years old. And, it's just a blessing that I'm able to help other people, and other people are able to help me, because, as we're giving our stuff here, but other people are helping me as well. Right. And I just always wanted to do it, and once I put my mind to it, I realized that I was able to, and it's just a big blessing. It means the world to me. And this giving spirit isn't just something that's going to start now and later. It's going to be something that lives on through me as long as I'm breathing on this earth.
And when I talk to athletes that are doing events like this, giving back to the community that raised them, it's typically guys that are like 8 years out of school, and it's taken some time to sort of realize their platform, but you're still in college, and you've already realized sort of the influence you can have on people that you may have played on, again, on the football field a couple years ago, or just friends and people in the neighborhood. When was that one moment where it kind of clicked for you, like, this is the platform I have? A lot of people know my name now just because of the journey I've taken, and let's put it to good use.
I was in Statesboro, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes away, and there was a little kid that ran up to me and said, hey, I saw you on TV this morning on a high school game day commercial. And I was a sophomore in high school, so I didn't think too much of it. But I realized that 7 or 6-year-old knew who I was because of my face, because of what I did on the football field. So I wanted people to know me because of football, because I love football to death. But I also wanted them to know that there's something more to me than just football. Now I can do more than just football, and I can be more than football. So when I realized that, I've always wanted to help people, and I have that football platform, these athletic platforms here in Savannah, why not help Savannah? Because I want to help people. My hometown has helped me all the time, and it's a football-rich city. It's an athletic-rich city.
People that are watching this, it may be a couple days from now, even a week or two from now, if they want to still donate, is there a way they can either reach out to you or reach out to the organization and say, hey, next year I know some kids that are coming up who may want these supplies? Is there a way to sort of get in contact with them?
Indeed, there is. The way to get in contact is the organization that we partner with to put this on is called Feed the Streets, and their email is feedthestreets912@gmail.com, FEEDTHESTREETS912@gmail.com. Or you can also reach out to me on any social media sites. I'm most prevalent on Instagram. It's Big Ticket Sauce, BIGTICKETSAUCE.
You gotta plug it in.
Yes, you gotta plug it in. But yes, reach out anyway, and we'll let you know the ways that you can donate, or anyone can be helped, because we're here to help.
And I want to give you one chance to brag on Jenkins for a little bit of football. They survived life without Javante Middleton last year, and looks like they're primed for another good run this year. What can you say about those guys? You've been in that huddle. You know what Coach Cam can do. Sky's the limit for this team?
Definitely. So on my spring break, or on my summer break from school, I got the pleasure to intern coach with Jenkins. So I was able to be the assistant offensive coordinator with Coach James and Coach Stewart over there. And they put me to work as a GA. But I got to be back there and see the guys going into practice every day just like we did. And at my time at Jenkins, we were arguably the best school and team, the best team in school history. Reached the region championship 2 years in a row, and those guys, they fell short of it, but they still reached the same round of playoffs. But those guys are really talented. They have FBS offers, FCS offers, and Coach Cam's doing the right thing over there. Everyone bought into the system as soon as we left, and they realized that Tyrone, tough stuff, everyone wasn't there anymore, but they just kept it rolling. And Coach Cam's doing a good job of it.
Coach Cam, he's such an interesting guy to watch on the sideline. He seems to get, like you said, a lot of people to buy into what he's offering. Could you put into perspective in your one-on-one conversation with him, what is it about him that makes him so different than your typical high school coach?
A man of integrity.
Yeah?
That's Coach Cam, yes, sir. Coach Cam, he cares about you. He asks how your mom is doing. He asks how your sister is doing. He asks how your dad is doing. He makes sure you're doing your work. He'll get after you if you're not. He makes sure you're on the field, you're in the locker room. He gives everybody some responsibilities, and he has some expectations that he knows will get met. So Coach Cam, he's a man of integrity, and I love him to death. Coach Cam would call me at 12 o'clock at night, I'll answer, and it's same vice versa. Yes, sir.
Sounds like you're surrounded by a lot of good people here,
yes,
man.
Sir.
All right,
yes,
Javante, thanks for putting on this event. Great
yes,
event,
sir.
Second year. You can check out more information online on WSAV.com. I'm sure we'll be following you even past college as you continue to make a mark on Savannah and beyond. And one more story I want to tell you about Javante. I learned this on Saturday when I went to the event. Mm-hmm. He had a buddy there, Vaughn Ramsey, who's one of his teammates at the Citadel. I asked him, how'd you get to know Javante? This is a story that just kind of tells you the kind of character Javante is. He said, I met him when I was, recruited to the Citadel, and then I committed. We were all in a group chat, I guess, for new recruits or whatever it may be. And Vaughn said he was going through a tough time. His grandma was declining in health. She was, she eventually passed away. But he said one of his first interactions with Javante, or one of his first really meaningful ones, was Javante FaceTimes him, texts him with one of his other teammates, and they pray for him and pray for his family, and just, somewhat complete strangers, kind of.
That's
They're
cool,
just
though.
really meeting each other. But Javante took his time to reach out to him, and Vaughn said that ever since then, they've just clicked. They kind of rub off on each other with the positive energy and community spirit. And the best part of it, too, is Vaughn said that he's seen this get-going event that Javante's putting on, and he wants to bring it back to his hometown in South Carolina, Greenwood.
Very cool.
So Javante, at 19 years old, is just doing God's work, essentially, in terms of giving back to the community at such a young age. He has such a good head on his shoulders, from what I gather. And this is a big reason why I love this podcast, too, Ben, is that story can't be, that took me 2 minutes to tell the story. You can't do that in a newscast,
Right, like we just don't have time.
We just don't have time, especially when we want to talk about, who's getting helped out by this event, the young woman who won the $1,000 scholarship, the kids that are going to be getting these college supply kits. This podcast allows us to kind of tell you in as many words as we want, as long as we want, the kids that we're producing out of Savannah who have such a good head on their shoulders and are already making a difference in their community. I've done so many stories over the past couple weeks of these athletes that are back in their hometowns giving back. Most all of them are older than 19. Keith Brooking, the other day, he's at a Kids and Pros camp. Granted, it's at the school that he works at now, or he's going to start a football program, but he's an NFL guy who said, hey, I realized my platform. This
is what I got. This is how I can give back.
Here's how I'm going to give back. Javante already has a platform, and he's not in the NFL, and he's not. He redshirted. He's not a starting. He wasn't a starting quarterback last year. But the people in Savannah, he's a household name because of.
Everybody here knows who he is.
Everyone knows who he is, just from his accomplishments at Jenkins, but also his. He's a giving spirit, and so these kids who are looking up to him and saying, he made it. To college football. I'm going to make it to college football, and I'm going to give back just like he did. So Javante, like he said in the interview, he gets all these gifts on his going away party when he's heading off to the Citadel. He said, well, you know what, I have a scholarship, so I'm just going to give the supplies back to the community. And so it's little things like that make you realize he's about more than football.
So the football is not the top of his list.
No.
It's a
not.
bonus.
It's something that, It's something that football will be with him for X amount of years, but community spirit, the platform that he has lasts well beyond football. And so kind of transitioning from that, when I mentioned Keith Brooking and all these other athletes that are in town giving back, it got me thinking about the athletes I met growing up. And it may not have even been community service, it may have been a meet and greet, but just seeing their face made me say,
but it's a cool thing, though. It's a cool experience
thing.
Because even if you're 19-year-old coming back to Savannah, or you're Keith Brooking, who had a long NFL career. Either way, kids of a certain age, when they see these athletes in the community, for whatever reason it may be, that is such a cool thing to see them be in the community, be around the kids, and have them outside of their sporting environment, outside of their uniform and that kind of thing. It goes miles and miles and miles. It works incredible wonders. Just real quick for Javante, I got to give it up to that young man, because at 19 years old, that is not what I was doing.
No.
And what he is doing to give back to his community, it might take months and months of planning, but that couple of hours that he puts in on a Saturday afternoon to come back to Savannah and be with the kids and help make their day a little bit better and their year and their lives a little bit better. And that kid's going places, man. He's going places.
Regardless of what happens in football.
It doesn't matter if he ever plays football another quarter in his life. That kid's going places. He's got a real bright future.
And the best is just seeing the influence he has on the other
and I don't need to be the one to tell him that, because I'm sure he's heard that a million, billion times, but it's true. When you're doing things like this, man, it's true. When you have a platform, you have more than that platform, I think, if that makes sense. That your platform, you're given these special circumstances that some athletes really blow that opportunity. Other athletes really embrace that opportunity. That, some guys are collecting a paycheck, and other guys, they're collecting that paycheck and they're doing more because they're collecting that paycheck. So, I think there's two different types here, and Javante is definitely, the kid's got a good head on his shoulders.
I'm really looking forward to just following him through the college ranks, but also just life after football.
He'll do great.
So cool.
He'll do great.
And real quick, I want to know, what's one of those guys growing up for you that you kind of
man.
saw at an event or just met in person and was
Cool.
like, whoa, this is wild.
I think I have a cool quick story about this. So back, I want to say maybe like second grade or something, there was, you know, I mean, I grew up near Pittsburgh, and at my elementary school there was a contest for, it was like a writing contest or something. I don't exactly remember how it went. But Al Martin, who used to play outfield for the Pirates, I mean, we were kids, man. Al Martin was like, everybody wanted to be Al Martin.
He's your everyday coach now.
Yeah, pretty much. So Al Martin was coming to our school, and only so many students would have an opportunity to ask him a question. You better believe that the minute I heard that in second grade, I was like, I'm the guy. I'm going to get a question. So we had to like submit good questions and stuff and like win a contest, whatever it was. I don't know. There were like 8 or 10 of us. And I got picked. And man, you would think that I just hit the Powerball that was more than $1 billion. I got up there, got the microphone, got to ask my question. I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. But when I saw Al Martin, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I was like, there he is, like that. That's Al Martin. I was probably 6, 7 years old when this happened. So that was my first like actual brush with seeing an athlete that I really looked up to in life. And it was cool that it was in an educational setting too. There have been plenty of other times where it's been completely not an educational setting.
Yeah.
I ran into Franco Harris at an outlet mall once.
What was he buying? Please tell me.
He was in a Tommy Hilfiger store. I don't know what he was buying. I didn't pay enough attention. But I saw him. And a guy like Franco, when you see them for the first time in real life, you are blown away by how big some of these guys are. Franco Harris was still big. And I think maybe about 13 then when that happened. That was really cool because all we ever had as kids growing up, you knew the story of Franco Harris. You knew the immaculate reception was the greatest catch in NFL history. You know, that's what you knew about him. You saw him on video, and you didn't get to see him play. You didn't know much more about him. But then when I bumped into him at the outlets, I was like, that's pretty cool, man. This guy's one of the greatest ever to play.
That's awesome.
And to see that and just have that interaction, plus he was really nice too.
That's great.
So to have that little interaction was cool. My goodness, I don't know. I mean, I probably have athlete stories for days, but
mine aren't as entertaining as Franco Harris
No?
at an outlet mall.
Yours aren't that good?
Mine's like, so being an Orioles guy, it's a sort of similar name where to your casual baseball fan, like, you know, Al Martin isn't going to be the guy that everyone like knows. Right? But my guy's kind of similar, Melvin Mora of the Baltimore Orioles. I remember it was the weirdest thing. I was at a lacrosse game, an indoor lacrosse game, and he was there in his baseball uniform.
Just hanging out.
And just hanging out. I don't know what he was doing, whether it was a meet and greet or something, but he was just there. And I remember I was 7 or 8. And I still remember when I think about just how nervous I was. I used to get really nervous when even just like college athletes.
Yeah, no, I understand that feeling.
And like when I was just a little kid, because I was like, oh my God, these are guys that read box scores about.
These are the guys.
Right, like these are the guys. Like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? And Melvin couldn't have been, you know, the nicer guy in Baltimore in general. And I remember meeting him. That was probably one of my first ones. I feel like I met some lacrosse guys that no one's gonna know, like I think like the Gate brothers, things like that. But and I'm trying to think. Let's see. There was one time it was either a college athlete or you know, I don't know. My mind's escaping me right now. It's gonna come to me right when we stop recording.
Oh, it's not that I'm not paying attention to you,
No,
but
you're good.
I'm trying to find out what Al Martin's up to right now.
Just Googling him right now, just Wikipedia Al Martin.
I looked up his Wikipedia
You're
page.
coming in with no one thought they'd hear about
It
Franco Harris.
It appears Al Martin might have had a problem or two after baseball, but in that moment.
You're getting a little bit close to what Greg was talking about last week about some crimes and things like that. So,
it has nothing to do with me. In that moment, though, it was cool because that was the guy we all looked up to when we were kids. You know, that was the guy when we were playing wiffle ball in the backyard. We were like, I want to be Al Martin. I had like the T-shirt jersey with his name on it and stuff. So, I mean, that was pretty cool.
oh, you know what it is?
Go ahead.
Tory Smith.
Okay, that's
played
cool.
for the Ravens for a while. He was Joe Flacco's best friend because Joe Flacco would just throw it 70 yards and Tory Smith would try and run into, or just get a pass interference.
Yeah, right. Just try to make something out of
That's
it.
how they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It's
well,
that and
I
Anquan
mean,
Bolton. But
whatever.
Tory was really active in the Baltimore scene in the community. And he's doing similar things. He went to San Francisco. Now he's with Carolina, I believe. I saw him at a Panthers game last year. And it was kind of cool. There's the Maryland connection. He went to the University of Maryland, got drafted by the Ravens. So it was a really cool, like, kind of homegrown story.
Yeah.
So to see him with the Panthers, got to, like, say 2 words to him and take a picture with him. But it was pretty cool. So, I mean, unless you got anything else, I think
I got one more good one.
You got
I got to
one
put
more.
it out there. It was when I was still a little kid. I was at a Pittsburgh Penguins game with my dad. We were sitting in the seats that my mom's boss gave us. They were 5, I'll never forget them. They were 5 rows off the ice, 1 section over from the Penguins tunnel. I'll never forget this. And they were playing the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know why I know all this. They were playing the Buffalo Sabres that night. My dad and I are sitting there, and one of the Sabres players looks up. This actually might have been like one of the worst possible experiences any kid could ever have with pro athletes.
Oh God!
As far as it went for me, and this all happened in one. I'm pretty sure it all happened in one day. Sabres player sees me. You see a little kid in the stands, and he like kind of gives me like, we notice each other, and he goes flip the puck right over the net. Nothing physically bad happened to me. Emotionally happened to me. Guy next to me.
See where this is going.
Grown man took the puck. Just took it.
That's brutal.
That's like taking a foul ball from a little kid, or like getting a foul ball and not giving it to the 5-year-old you're sitting next to.
How old were you?
Like 5.
So were you
6.
wearing like an
I had a
unreasonably oversized jersey, and this guy just like takes it from a oversized jersey kid?
I had an old Penguins Ron Francis jersey on.
Okay.
Ron Francis is my man. So
come for the Pittsburgh references here.
I got them all. Ron Francis, what's up? I think he's the GM of the new Seattle NHL team, but
that still doesn't have a name. They're just NHL
okay.
Seattle right now.
That's all right. Ron Francis will make it happen. Anyway, so I don't get the puck, and I'm like devastated. This guy's got it, and he didn't even acknowledge the fact there was a kid sitting next to him. So I was pretty beat up about that. Then later on in the game, these situations both happened to me. I'm pretty sure they both happened on the same day. But later on in the game, like I said, we're 1 section over from the Penguins tunnel, and I look over and I see somebody standing down there. My dad looks over and he goes, "That's Kevin Stevens." At the time, Kevin Stevens was among Pittsburgh Penguin royalty. Mm-hmm. Him and Jaromir Jagr, Mario Lemieux, and Tom Barrasso, like those were the Ulf Samuelsson. Those were those guys of the early '90s. And Kevin Stevens was hurt at the time, so yeah, it was him standing in the tunnel. This was almost the end of the third period. The game's almost over. My dad's like, "Why don't you just go over there and just like, say hey?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It's like, I just march on over there, and there's a lady sitting there. It's like her and one other person in this row of like 6 or 8 seats. And I was nice as could be, at least I'm pretty sure I was. And I said, "Excuse me, I just want to go over there and say hi to Kevin Stevens, who was one of my favorite players." And she told me, "No, you have to wait until the game's over." I was devastated, Connor.
It was a fan that said that?
Yes, it was a fan. She wouldn't get up for me. A little kid. I was this tall.
The unmitigated
this
gall.
Tall. She was mad that I was asking politely to go meet one of my favorite players. You know what happened after that? If she told me no, I went back to my seat and I cried. I cried, Connor. It never happened. I never met Kevin Stevens,
just,
who, by the way, all these guys have ended up going on to have problems after their playing careers. That has nothing to do with me, though. Kevin Stevens had some problems, but
just connecting the dots.
That is what it is. But yeah, those are some of my better stories, I guess, when it comes to pro athletes. But
really brought the mood.
Yeah, but you know what? I ended up with something cool from my aunt for one of my birthdays anyway. One of her clients was one of the Pittsburgh Penguins back 91, 92 when they won the back-to-back cups. He got me one of his game-used sticks, which was cool in and of itself that he used in the Stanley Cup. But then he passed it around the locker room and had the whole team sign it. So I won up that lady.
That's so
And cool. I won up the puck guy.
And the best part is you didn't get it during the game, too. I always wonder when they give out huge sticks, like, is that kid just carrying a big stick on a Metro on the way home? Like, what? Well,
not in Pittsburgh. We don't have any of that stuff.
No.
Yeah. No, we all
just
drive
walking
cars.
through the street.
Yeah, we all drive cars, and we all park there because everybody's
Big
tailgating.
City living.
Everybody's drinking beers and tailgating.
Yeah.
But yeah, those. So I guess it like worked out in my favor. I got that pretty cool stick. And, I hope that lady who wouldn't let me through and the guy that got the puck, I hope they're doing okay now. I hope life worked out.
Class. You're emitting class right now.
Trying my hardest.
Bigger man than me.
Hey, a 5-year-old in that situation, that's a tough one to take.
It is. I can only imagine
That's why I still remember it.
Yeah,
it's been
to this day.
so
you remember
long.
the team.
I remember the team. I remember the night. I remember where we were sitting. That is how burned in my mind that night is. But I came out on top. I came out the bigger man here, I guess, right? I don't know. I got the cool hockey stick to show for it.
Yeah. Got some nice stories here for a Gregless show.
I got stories for days. You want to hear them, but we'll do it again next Monday.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be you and Greg next Monday. Likely,
what I hear.
I'm gonna go on vacation, get some rest and relaxation before real football season. Media day is not football season. You think
It's
today's
the appetizer.
busy?
But it's like the appetizer that's only okay because you know what you're getting at media day anyway.
It's like the dessert coffee before.
Right, it's like it's not really that big of a surprise, but it's still enough. Like
It's cool.
It's enough to make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's enough to make you feel good before you get there.
Yeah. We also have to brainstorm while we're here. Let's see if Greg listens to the podcast because I think we should brainstorm some. I don't know if it's like sound effects or something when he gets philosophical because the past 2 weeks he's been on some tangents.
It needs to be like some mellow.
And there's no fault to him. It's great. It gets us on a path we never thought it would be. You know,
some
Charlie Brown
mellow,
teacher.
maybe some like a harp, a long
The
harp
Sarah
track.
McLachlan dog commercial one too.
Well, that's a tough one, but I see exactly what you're talking about.
Maybe that's not philosophical and we're just sad. But
if you got any ideas, we'll take them.
yeah, just let them know. We also had a couple people comment on our Facebook page about some sports memories too, so we appreciate y'all reaching out, and we want to know.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends. We'll wear T-shirts too on set too. It doesn't have to be. I have some like Wichita State basketball T-shirts, which is wild, just because I have friends out in Kansas.
I've got enough jerseys, I think, to get me through like the rest of the year.
Perfect.
Maybe.
Perfect. But if y'all have any ideas of what you want us to wear, what you want us to talk about, reach out to us. It's are you WSAV Ben K or are you Ben K?
I'm WSAV Ben K. Do you
Greg's
really
the only one that doesn't have WSAV.
Do you really
in front
think
of
you
his
want to
Twitter
take suggestions on what people want us to wear?
You're right.
Well, why
You're
not?
right.
We'll just see what happens.
You know what? You're right.
We'll just see
it
what
has to
happens.
be TV friendly
There you
too.
go.
There are certain rules with TV, so we'll take
There
that
you
into
go.
account. But all right, week 3, right? Yeah, week 3 is in the books. We're gonna be 1% better next week, right? That's the
right.
plan.
We're always 1% better each week. Tell your friends. We'd love to have more people watching, listening. Share it. Get back to us. Let us know how you feel.
We're on SoundCloud. We are now on Spotify. And we are on WSAV.com. So all 3 of those, you can watch it on WSAV, listen on SoundCloud or Spotify. We're working on iTunes, so you can subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, rate.
I just don't think there's much
stuff.
of an excuse not to listen or watch.
It's
it
easy
everywhere.
for the car. You can do it for the car.
Just
30-minute commute.
Plug us in and listen to us drone on.
Plug us in and play. All right, y'all.
Great.
Take care.
See ya.